Now, in the 12 Visions world, what the 12 Visions do, you're not going to have all of those taxes, all of those force-backed taxes. You're not going to have that. Yes, you're going to have costs that go into that taxes would pay for, but in one way or another, but you're not going to have all of that. So immediately, with that fact alone, your buying power is going to multiply 100-fold. And then you have the other dynamic that's amazing with this, and that is the super rapidly advancing technology dynamic. If you think about the computer, that you own now, how much that technology would have cost you 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 10, 20 years ago, you will realize that the technology you have now couldn't have been owned by anybody but a millionaire just a few years ago. So with the super rapidly advancing technology, your buying power is going to advance, just like it did with the computer industry. So right there you have two things, that are going to boost your buying power unbelievably, incredibly. And the concepts are sound, folks. I know it's hard to imagine in this day and age. Those concepts are sound. And that's what's going to happen without the ruling class and the cancerous regulations that hold back the market businessmen and women in the technology.
Well, thank you very much, Michael. There's some value with what you've been talking about. Thank you. Larry, would you like to add a little bit more to this?
Sure. Universal wealth. Well, I'm going to speak directly to our seniors that are listening. And just put aside about the computer buying power. Just imagine if the money that you get every month through whatever where the Social Security, you have a pension. You basically know that you have so much money to spend on maybe insurance and other things. Well, just imagine if all those prices kept dropping down, kept coming down. Well, you would have more money at the end of the month, and that's an increase of wealth. So without you doing anything, as prices begin to drop, your buying power increases, your wealth increases. You have more money left over to do other things that you basically want to do. You can decide to do what, with that extra money that before basically went to everyone else. Well, as prices come down, you have more to keep in your pocket. That's basically simple universal wealth. That's the simplest way to explain it.
Excellent. I just want to add one thing also. Remember what we've talked about. We've talked about eliminating career politicians, bringing in businessmen and women. The businessmen and women already have incomes, everybody. Bring the people in who are making salaries, who already have it by increasing demand within the country, globally. The incomes are there. They're already taken care of. Their whole process is to get rid of initiatory force to make sure that we're protection and we are being protected. That's the key. You don't be paying out these salaries. So these are all the ways that you get into a universal wealth for yourselves. So this is a new way of thinking. This is just the beginning, everyone. We're going to take this conversation to another level. So be ready. You're going to hear more and more about the 7 visions and how this is going to be. These are the 7 campaign visions, and we're going to talk in more and more detail in the upcoming shows. But right now, with everything you've just heard, I want to stop. And again, I started at the beginning of today's show. I'm going to end it with the prime law. After what you've just heard, really listen. I would say try to listen to what we're going to say, because this is the foundation that we're all working with. The prime law, the fundamental of protection. Preamble. The purpose of human life is to prosper and live happily. The function of government is to provide the conditions that let individuals fulfill that purpose. The prime law guarantees those conditions by forbidding the use of initiatory force, fraud, or coercion by any person or group against any individual, property, or contract. Article 1. No person, group of persons, or government shall initiate force, threat of force, or fraud against any individual self, property, or contract. Article 2. Force is morally and legally justified only for protection from those who violate Article 1. Article 3. No exception shall exist for Articles 1 and 2. Remember, end the rule of man to launch the wealth of mankind. We're making everyone rich, including the poor. I want to thank my guest today, Mr. Michael Dilworth. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Steve. It was a joy.
It really was great, Michael. And Mr. Larry Wert. Larry, thank you for stepping up and starting off our program with such valuable and empowering information.
You're welcome, Steve. My pleasure.
Appreciate it. Well, gentlemen, again, thank you all. Thank you all out there who is listening today. We will be back next week to move forward. So in the meantime, remember, get to know you. Believe in yourself. Empower yourself. You have every right to prosper and live happily. We all do. This is Steve Fagan. NTR, Neothink Radio. We will speak with you next week.
Neothink Radio Network. Visit neothinkradio.com.